how many people saw the videos regarding Nipsey Hussle when he first passed and how it was not possible for him to fill up Staples Center for his mass. The following incidents are based upon true events and are retold through the best of my recollection. Thank you to everybody listening. If this is your first time or if you've been here before, I'd like to thank you. Feel free to subscribe, comment, like, share. Monday Morning Medicine will include interesting first-hand stories from my perspective. These will be my experiences that I've actually lived through with people you may or may not have heard of. You have not heard these stories because these are my personal experiences. I did not hear this on a podcast or read an article and thought it sounded cool. This channel will only engage in uplifting and empowering others, as putting people down is not my MO. There may be people who are doubtful that these stories are true, and that's fine, but I've really got no reason to take a creative license here, as life simply happens. There will be irrefutable facts stated in this story that could not have came from an imaginary source. I present to many of you my experience at Staples Center at Nipsey Hussle funeral. Now, Nipsey's passing was tragic, true loss. The energy that dispersed around the globe emanated from the impact Nipsey was having in Los Angeles. I received the news of Nipsey's passing long before most people. No, I was not on Crenshaw and Slauson when it happened, but I know people, and maybe I'll tell that story at another time because his passing hit me extremely hard. Here's a man who saved my life when I was 18 in 2005. Was always humble, had an aura about him that you really only hear about in movies and television, had provided me countless hours of entertainment and inspiration through his music, interviews, business moves, and actions. After Nipsey's passing, and they stated they would have the service at Staples Center, which is now Crypto Arena, and tickets would be free, I knew I had to be there. At this time, I had just left my job at Molina Healthcare, and I was living in downtown Long Beach. Was planning to go with my boy Jason, and I forget who else wanted to go, but we agreed getting 4 tickets. Now, I recall people having issues with getting their tickets with how fast they went, and I knew they would go fast. I live here. I have firsthand experience on Nipsey Hussle impact prior to his passing. I remember making a plan the night before, knowing when I would log on and be able to get mine, and there would be a waiting area within the app once you got on, and I remember getting in and getting the tickets and then hitting Jason and confirming I got them. Everywhere online, the amount of people saying they could not get any, and people from out of town logged in and grabbed the tickets upset them. All I knew was I was prepared, planned, and executed. I had to be there. To me, I didn't have a choice. I had deep respect and admiration for how Nipsey carried and conducted himself. This, coupled with him saving my life as a teenager and my regret of not speaking with him the last 2 times I saw him, forced my hand into making this a priority. Plus, I was not working, had the time, and needed to do this for myself. Either the day or 2 before, Jason lets me know he can't go, and who he was going to bring could not for personal reasons. So I was going to go by myself or with others. I contacted a couple people, and they all had to work and could not call off without notice. I ended up getting my boy Malik to go, and he could not believe it. He was genuinely thankful and appreciative, and actually thanked me several times after for him getting to have that experience, and I am fortunate enough to have made that happen. Now, I get an Uber. I attempted to show up a little early, and downtown LA was packed. Wait, jumped ahead. Day of the event, sorry. Now, I've been texting Malik as to where to meet since the tickets were on my phone. He was a little further out, and I mean, there were so many people outside, thousands of people. Looked like how Staples was before Kobe's last game, which I was outside of Staples and ran into my boy Ernest that day, as I used to post flyers for my music and hit the Blue Line exit in Figueroa that day due to foot traffic. Now, I see NOI handing out newsletters. I see gangbangers. I see businessmen. I see celebrities. I see squares. I see nerds. I see hustlers. People really came out. I started heading towards the entrance, and on my way, there's a huge traffic jam, and I see Compton Menace walk by. Then Cowboy walks by, and there were tons of rumors about him at this time, and I could hear someone behind me say, "There's Cowboy," and the congestion of people was so dense, I had to make my way to another entrance. On my way there, by the statues in front of Staples, I see Bino. I dap him up and tell him I've met his father. By this time, I've come across from a parking entrance. I'm on the phone with Malik, telling him where I am. While this is happening, the singer Buddy is right next to me, on the phone with someone and letting them know where he was. I hang up and taking that Buddy is right here. I did not speak to Buddy because he was on the phone explaining where he was. Now, I go ahead and cross the parking structure because Malik was getting dropped off there. I see him walking, and while standing there, security is speaking with a young lady who claims she says she works with Janae Aiko and needs to be let in. She was to be let in right now. Keep in mind, Staples is across the street now, but security was not letting people without tickets across the street, which was weird because they could have just walked out on the other side of the parking structure, but I digress. So finally, security lets her in after she says something along the lines of they can explain to Staples why someone working with Janae Aiko was not let in. Malik comes and they ask to see his ticket, and I tell them, hey, he's with me. I flash it, and boom. While walking to get into these long entrance lines, I see Idi Amin from the Outlaws. I dap them up and thank them. Now, once again, they have several long lines with metal detectors. While standing in line, I start going off about why they're having metal detectors, because no one was going to bring a weapon inside Staples Center and was going to be that guy who ruined this moment. While all this is happening, someone behind me mentions to someone else that some of these people are not here for Nipsey and are really coming for a free concert, and that's not right. Now, that always stuck with me. Now, while I am talking about the metal detectors, Michael Blackson is in the line next to me and is laughing. By this time, there was a reputable from 60s that I did not personally know, just knew of him in line ahead of Michael Blackson. Now, Michael Blackson, he had a shiny blue suit on. And this stuck out because I noticed they were letting members of the 60s and celebrities in another entrance, because I saw some guys I knew from there and saw Jason Lee from Hollywood Unlocked, which not sure if that was around during the time. Personally knew him from Love and Hip Hop. Now, after getting in through the metal detectors and looking for seats, somebody was in our seats and staff said, hey, sit where you can. While Malik and I were walking around and looking for seats, we run into my friend and former co-worker, Christian. We did not know the other one was coming to Staples, gave a quick hug, and happy to see you, surprised you were here. Finally, Malik and I find seats, and there are people with multiple obituaries. I mean, seeing people selling them online was disgusting, but I understand the hustle, but they were out and I never got mine because people were grabbing 4, 5, 6 at a time. After the ceremony was over, I decided to take some video and post on my Instagram. Now, I used to not really be active on there, and by the way, I remember I wore the TMC Malcolm X shirt I bought some years prior, and it felt right. Now, we head outside and Malik daps me up and heads out. I decided to stay where I got let out. I noticed the restaurants across the street from Staples were closed, which was weird because any event there means lots of foot traffic and business for local businesses. I decided to walk back to where I was let in that parking structure because I wanted to cut across and get some food at LA Live. I was hungry. While walking there, I run into Brandy Kane, and we briefly speak. As I head towards LA Live, they have security there, and I chop it up with them, and I could see nobody at the restaurants, and they told me they were closed, much like the restaurants up the street. I instantly thought this seems racist, and I am not one to label everything that, but they would never do that for a Lakers game, Clippers game, Kings game, or any other event. I headed back out and I noticed people were lining up where this gate was. Now, this gate was where they were letting in the celebrities in the 60s earlier that I mentioned before. Now, I see Steve Lobel and shake his hand. I run into my son and shake his hand and thank him for his work. As people are coming out, DJ Quick walks right past me. YG drives out and people go crazy. I decided to head out not too long after that because I was really hungry. Can't recall which street I am on, but I decided that I need to eat now. The energy was real good there. You could really feel the love. Now, I ran to the LA Leakers. Sour Milk was on the phone, and I dapped up Just Incredible. And he was really nice from what I remember. Really cool guy. Now, while walking around, I actually ran into my cousin, which was wild because we were not on friendly terms and not even on speaking terms. And he was with his cousins on his father's side. And I'm not aware if they were aware of our problems, but they were cordial, and they left and asked if he wanted to leave with them, and he decided to talk with me. While we were talking and walking, Steve Lobel walks by with LT Hutton, and I could not place him right then and there. My cousin thought that this was Nathan Morris from Boyz II Men. We ended up at some intersection, and Tariq Nasheed was at the intersection at the stoplight at one point. Someone was bootlegging Nipsey shirts, and Shaheem Reed, shout out to Shaheem Reed, happens to walk by, and I recognize him, and he tells me Nipsey was his man and that he had to come out for the service. My cousin and I ended up hitting Chick-fil-A together and meeting a guy who claimed he was a multimillionaire from a traveling MLM. Look, I'll be breaking down some of the nasty, disgusting, and disgraceful internet rumors about the Staples Center event and Nipsey's passing that I witnessed after his passing in another video. Lessons from this story that I reflect on: foresight, Nipsey had the wherewithal to know people had to come through LA, and if he was popping in LA, that would attract the type of relationship for success, and he was right. Doubt. Other people's doubt is not yours to raise inside your mind. And love. Nipsey loved to give and be seen. He wanted to inspire people. The man was kind and fair from what I've seen, and people appreciate that. Now, feel free to like, share, comment, subscribe. There are links in the description if you would like to support this channel via Cashapp, merch, or some electronics or anything. Everything is valued and appreciated. Nothing is taken for granted. Thank you so much. Enjoy your day or night wherever you are. More stories coming in the future. You have a nice one.